And hello, everybody. Welcome to Ready Set Data. Today, we're going to talk about a new initiative that we have. I'm Anthony Fortner, data engineer, and with me, as always, we have Lee Markum, database administrator, aka database extraordinaire. Um, Happy to have you, Lee. Hopefully, I'm coming through clear. Behind the scenes, I've been having some serious internet issues, so hopefully, we're good to go.
Yep, everything's working fine so far.
Awesome. So, what I wanted to talk about here tonight is um, more and more some of the contacts that we've run into, people who've talked to us, have been junior data professionals. So as much as we love the complicated topics, the super deep internals level 300 stuff, um, we also have enjoyed some of the softer skills we've talked about, everything from imposter syndrome to getting a job. I think I'm going to go on a little bit of experiment and going forward bring once a week a subject that I think would directly impact um, junior data professionals. So
Okay.
just kicking that off, for example, I'll start doing simple SQL stuff, simple real life scenarios. Hey, we have this problem. How would we solve that? It's something that me and you can talk over, and then we'll see what happens with that. We'll probably end up with different versions of a solution, and then I'm going to pick out which one would be the simplest one. Which one would I give to somebody if they were looking to get? What solution would I give someone who was looking to get a job as a data professional, and or if they were new on the job and they've only been around for 2 or 3 months, which one would be reasonable for them to put in their back pocket, right? Because not
Right.
all the tricks that Lee Markham has is applicable to somebody who's only been spinning the wheels on the clock for less than 6 months, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's something I've been thinking about. I ran through that real quick, so let me try to slow down and reiterate. Right, um, my idea is to bring up a real world problem that we can talk about. Right, we need to move data from A to B, or we have data that hasn't been normalized. We can talk through how to normalize it. I'm really hoping that maybe I can have some visuals if I think our system will allow us to do screen shares on live
Oh yeah.
stream and on our recorded video, right? Cool. So I'm gonna bring all that to the table. Um, what would be great is some of those people that I know that have been watching us and reaching out to us, if they would um, give feedback. Let me know if I start going too deep, or hey, if you feel like I'm not actually going deep enough, let me know. And topic suggestions. Some of you are learning, some of you are already working. If there's a particular problem that you think would be great for me to talk through for 10 minutes and bounce ideas off of Lee, I would actually be interested in doing that. So that's what I'm hoping to start doing going forward. Um, any thoughts on that, Lee? Anything that you want to mention, question, suggest?
Um, yeah, I think it's an interesting idea that we can try to give real world or potential uh, real world scenarios a solution or some ideas about how would we attack this? What tools would we use? What features of relational platform would we use? How could we implement a solution? So it could be pretty interesting to go down that road. Um, I think
I see that
you and
smirk.
I
I see you
being
smiling.
well, I was just going to say, I think you and I being from different ends of the spectrum, it could be interesting to see what we get from the crowd, from the folks out on the internet as well in terms of questions. But then, uh, what kinds of problems do we each bring uh, to the discussion, or um, yeah, to the discussion, so we see what we end up trying to solve. Um,
Absolutely.
so yeah, could be
Yeah.
fun.
So let me double down on that again. Then, I just slaughtered that. Let me double down on that again. Maybe this would be good announcement to make, a short to throw out there, but um, that would be a good call to action. Those of you who come across our show, if you have certain, even as it can be short. I'm not talking about giving me an idea for a whole show. If you have something that we can work through, something we can talk through, um, bring it. Let us know. Reach out. Like, so here's a call to action. Let us know if there's anything that we can cover, any particular SQL trick that you've seen, heard about, would like to know. Let us know, because in order for us to have this community, we need to um, give some value back, right? And we want to hear you. So bring that.
Yeah. I was just thinking it could even be a question that you asked on a forum, maybe, that you don't feel like you got a very good answer, or maybe you got a lot of answers and maybe one or two of them worked, but you don't really know why they worked. You just implemented them, they fixed your problem, and you moved on. But you'd like to understand the solution better, maybe. Maybe that's another option. So obviously ahead of time, we would have to have the question or a link to the question, be able to read through your question and scenario, what the answers were that were offered by those who did try to answer the question, and then evaluate and offer our own ideas on how to solve it, or what a person was thinking when they were answering your question, try to explain something. So could be another way to do it.
Yeah. Or you just purposely ask a question that you know will cause a fight right here live on the air. Maybe there's a few of those out there that maybe we can argue about. Jokes aside, you mentioned this a moment ago. The fact that me and you are on opposite sides of the coin sometimes would, I think, make this somewhat valuable. There may be things. So, for example, there may be things that I'm thinking is simple, and you, as an established DBA, can remind me, like, actually, even though I've been doing this for a while, not everyone does it that way. Why the bleep would you do it that way? Why would you think of doing it that way, right? And then we can explain
Sure.
that, because we are absolutely on opposite sides of the coin, and vice versa. I might think something's really difficult, and you might have some insight that'll help me out. So I think it'll be fruitful. I think it'll be good. Definitely but we'll need some advice from people who watch this. So if you watch it and you see the fact that we're displaying stuff and we're not explaining it to your level, let us know, because I do want to help people who are entering the field learn more. So
yeah, absolutely. We want to help people entering the field, as you said. I want to bring value to anyone who wants to learn something, but at some point you do need at least some periods where you are focusing on a certain slice of the internet. And so your topic is going to help us focus on people who are entering into the data realm from a technical perspective. A lot of our other content, as you mentioned, offers assistance from other perspectives, the soft skills perspectives, the interviewing, the how do I not kill my coworker because they did the dumb thing again kind of topics. But yeah, it'll be interesting. And we're going to continue to cover those soft skill topics as well from time to time, I'm sure.
And I'm sure we're still going to have the harder stuff. You can do your availability group, clustered multiple availability groups running on 17 Raspberry Pis or whatever it is. So at the beginning, I'm leaning in on SQL. I appreciate that you pointed out it might be a good idea for us to have, you were mentioning in your little plan, SQL and ANSI SQL. So I think maybe I'm going to be cognizant of that when I start talking about SQL stuff. There's a good chance, since I specialize in Transact SQL, that I might be picking up something that's in that dialect that may not exist elsewhere. So I think I might have to, when I build and plan, bump it up against other RDMSs, other relational databases, and find out what breaks, what screams. So I'm glad you brought that up today. That was very timely. I wouldn't have thought about that. I would have just dove into T-SQL, and Bob's my uncle. Actually, really, Robert is my uncle. Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, if people wanted to focus on ANSI SQL or T-SQL, they could do that. It's just trying to give people from the perspective of me starting over, seeing that knowing both is a good idea. That's kind of where I was coming from. But
Oh no, absolutely.
yeah, I'm excited.
Knowing, yeah, you wanted to let them know that like there's some value there, and knowing the differences between the two, and the fact that jobs tend to say, "Hey, we are a SQL Server shop, but we also have a handful of oracles over there we keep as pets," right? Oh, and the MySQL instances, and that guy likes Postgres. So you'll see those, and knowing a little bit about each one is beneficial. So whether or not you go whole hog into both, or you do kind of, I tend to like to say the 80-20 rule, specialize, but keep an eye on the other thing. You know, whatever fits. Yeah, I think now that you mentioned that, I'm going to factor that in. I'll make sure I pay attention to that.
Cool. Yeah, I look forward to that. Just, I think most companies in the big pool of stuff that they have in their environment, they have lots of different kinds of floaties. And so they have different kinds of environments, and we need to know something probably about more than one if we're going to be as useful as possible. So,
yeah. Like I've personally touched, I say I specialize in SQL Server, but I also have personally touched Oracle. I've touched MySQL, one Postgres, and something called Dolt, DOLT.
interesting. Okay.
That was my announcement. So I just want to get that out there because next week I'll be coming strong with that, and I wanted to give that call of action. If some people want to reach out, LinkedIn, Twitter, Discord, let us know any specific topics. If I feel that it's applicable to a junior, I will come with it. If I don't, I'll probably still come with it, but I'm going to make sure my goal is one piece of content every Thursday when we go live to cover. That's for junior. Anything over that is just extra gravy.
That's right. I look forward to it. I'm excited. Let's do it.
Cool. All right, let's do it. I'm Anthony Fortner, data engineer with...
I'm Lee Markum, database administrator, and we will see you next week. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Every Thursday. Bye, everybody.